Hello everyone, this is I.MAGI.NATION with imaginationwitch.com. We're going ghetto fabulous until actual branding and I figure out this whole live streaming stuff. But yes, this is Imagination. Welcome to my channel. Hi. So today we are at my altar. And it is December 29th with a full moon ritual. And I wanted to share what I do during my rituals, just for conversation, just for people to have discussion about what they do, about setting intentions. So here I have in my northern hemisphere a pine needle basket that I wove with rocks. Here in the eastern I have my fire, and I know not everyone puts fire in the east, but I do. Here is my seashell and soapstone bowl, which I've got a custom blend of blessed water, which is cedar wood and balsam fir that I like to add for the water element in the south. And then in the Western realm, I have a burning charcoal, which I like to use a lot. Not everyone likes to do this. Make sure that you have a fire-safe base, fire-safe bowl. It's got lots of sand in there. What I like to start with, this is going to look pretty junky, but this is my bottle of myrrh that I have actually put powdered nettle into, and this was to do exorcism and spatial cleansing. Now I don't know if you know that you can put essential oil on a charcoal and it produces a good amount of smoke, so let's have a look, shall we? Here we go. Try to do it slowly. So it also releases the nice beautiful smell of the essential oils, and this is how I like to really fumigate my space. Now, if you're not allowed to burn things in your apartment or your home, or you just don't feel comfortable with that, you know, you could always put feathers for the air instead of burning things, but I'm an intense fire sign and I love to burn everything. So I have now cleansed my space, cleansed myself, and today is December 29th, 2020, the last full moon of 2020. So I really like using Spirit de la Lune oracle cards. I think they're really greatly designed, and I take out the moon cycle as well as the sign that it's in, and I like to use these to anchor my focus on my grid board. This one's made out of birch, in case you're wondering before we get started. It's from The Witch Down the Lane. I quite love their products. So yeah, here is my board, and I like to put my oracle cards in the center. Then I'm going to be putting things on top to imbue energy into them. What I also like to do is to use my little altar bell. It doesn't look like much, but this is actually a little bell that was given to me by my English grandmother, and I have kept it ever since. I like to use it to call or give energetic vibration to the four quarters to set a circle of energy around my board. So I'm going to do that right now. Anybody can do whatever they want, right? I think practice is really personal. So everything that's happening here is not hard and fast. This is just how I practice. Next, I like to make an offering to the moon. So I have a jar of mugwort, which is an herb to the moon goddess. And I like to, as I mentioned, burn things. So I'm going to take some of this out of the jar with some handy dandy charcoal pinchers and add it to my charcoal disc. This is generally how I start to invoke the vibe of connecting with the moon and the moon in Cancer. So I add it to my space and I bring it to myself. Now, not everyone may really like the smell of mugwort burning, so ultimately up to you and what you want to use. What I plan on doing today is focusing on some astrology. And the astrology with a full moon is a moon and sun in opposition. This is in Cancer, like we have here in Capricorn. Really today is about trying to be able to do a lot of self-care, except that this year is not going to be traditional during this time, and find ways to be able to harness space for that. So before I get there, and this is not relevant to the astrology, but I had done a little bit of magical work with Mars for 5 weeks in December, and I also want to add the collection of material of offering that I had to Mars since we were working together. That's just a side note. Anyway, so now I like to get together a jar. And with this jar, I'm going to put together some lavender and pea flowers. And this is because I want something really calming. You know, things have been very intense. This is the time of releasing. This is a moon for self-care. This is about really trying to dream and figure out what we want as a new future, because the moon is Trine Neptune in Pisces, which they are both in their dignity signs. So really thinking about ourselves and how we are in the collective. And I really like these soothing colors of pea flowers. They're nice bluey purple. They actually make blue tea if you put them and steep them in hot water. Now, this is something that I like to do, again, not hard and fast. I have not looked into specific correspondences of pea flowers. This is more from an intuitive place, that they look calming, smell calming. And I'm just going to crunch it up a bit as part of prepping it for burning on the charcoal. Now, if you really wanted to get this even more fine and you had a mortar and pestle, you could spend some time working that down into a powder like you saw with the nettle offering that I made for Mars. That just makes it easier to place on the charcoal instead of in big chunks, but for the sake of time and demonstration, I'm not going to do that. Oh, and you know what? I think one more thing. I like to work in threes, and this, you can barely see that. I harvested lilac flowers, dried them, and powdered them. So I'm going to take a little bit of that as well, and add that into my mix. Just a nice sprinkle. So basically, when it comes down to this, everything that I'm putting into this jar is to be made with intention. So I'm intending lavender with its properties of calmness. I'm intending this beautiful purple of intuition with the pea flowers, and lilac, again with beauty, calm, and igniting the senses. So I'm making a mixture based on that. And then I'm going to burn an offering as well as infusion. I'm also going to be placing my jewelry talismans that I have created based on this full moon onto my board to be imbued with energy. Now each one is slightly different, but they are all working with that purple energy of flower and of crystal and of beauty, and really making just an idea of a little moment of self-care, of transformation that we can look at by wearing this. Now, these are going to be available on my site for sale, which is I.MAGI.NATION.com. I'll put the description in the links below, but I make these, and with every ritual I do, I make something that harnesses the energy. It's not always jewelry. Sometimes it's a mixture of burnables, right? I made this of harnessing these energies, and I burn it whenever I need it. I've also got a wishing bay leaf in there, and this is something we can explore another time too. But really, ultimately, I want to talk about everything being done with intention. So even when I strung up the beads on my talisman jewelry, I counted numbers for intentionality. So each one has a little bit of a different property on how they're balanced out. The darkness before the light, the transmutation, the, lighter side, darker side, balance between light and dark, for example. So each one, which I will add in the descriptions when I write them up, has particular intentionality when they were created, and now they're being placed for intentional imbuing during my ritual. The next thing that I'm also going to add, because I love cards, is Making Magic, Manifesting Your Dreams by Priestess Moon. And I love this little itty bitty deck. I think it's really great for focusing energy. It doesn't contain everything imaginable, but it has some really great sigils. So I've chosen Insight, Opening the Third Eye to Strengthen Intuition, which is very, very strong to use with a moon in Cancer. And I've also added Perseverance, the motivation to keep going despite the odds. And this is really because this is the last moon of 2020, and we know how much that year has been a thing, to say the least. And we all could use some perseverance as we go through this time as a collective. Actually, I will do like that. So these sigils, coupled with the oracle cards, will be the foundation, the anchors of focus that I will be imbuing intentionality into my talismanic jewelry. And I don't think you can really call it a talisman in the sense that it doesn't have a sigil or something, but I consider it a talisman as in it is being worn with intent for action or manifestation or imbuing power. So it's not just wearing for the sake of pretty, although it's pretty. So I've made 5 pieces, and I'm going to put one in the center and one in every direction. Now these will stay overnight through this full moon. What I will add next is some more essential oils, again, because I love creating smoke. I really do. I will start with some balsam fir needle and some peppermint. Now I've chosen these cooling and elevating because of the Sun, Mercury conjunction in Capricorn that's in opposition to the Moon. Capricorn is very winter, and that's why I'm offering peppermint, because of that cold effect. And it smells amazing. And I also want to offer fir needle because it makes me think of evergreen trees, which to me are a prominent sign of winter and life in the darkness of winter. Again, I spread this throughout the altar and over the cards and what's on the altar itself as part of my ritual. And that's just, again, how I do. It's very visual, it's very sensual. I can see it move over the objects. Now I'm going to take bergamot and grapefruit, uplifting and joyful, which is for this watery moon energy in Cancer, which is summer, and grapefruit really makes me think of summer. Uplifting is very summery. And these are the two energies that are in opposition during this full moon. And I'm asking, basically, by offering this, to imbue both of these spirits into the jewelry, into the talismans. Because basically, they have different perspectives, different points of view, and they need to be worked on or found a middle ground, because soon the moon will join with the sun and see it from the same side. And really, now is a time of self-care, of being able to dream new dreams. And with that, I'm going to offer my mixture and allow it to slowly burn on top of the energy of that essential oil blend that I created for both the sun and moon in opposition. Now hopefully all of those are sitting within the charcoal. I can still smell them. And it's pushing up through this powder. Now if you really want, you can pick up your, I don't even know what you call this, but it's a soapstone dish, a burnable incense burner. You can intend it around clockwise, imbuing energy. And I want to ask to release energy. Because this is a full moon, it is very much about releasing, to make space for newness, for new opportunity, for a new year, in fact, at this moon. So I just like to keep adding and focusing on the intention. The entire time, each thing that is being done in ritual has a purpose, has something to be thinking about, has an association. And that's really the power of the mind being utilized with physical objects. We could just sit here in theory and just think it and will it, and there's lots of schools of thought that perpetuate that, and I'm sure it works for people. I very much believe in using physical objects. I know they are not 100% necessary, but I like physical objects because they're tactile. And it's really whatever works for you. Just going to add a little bit more to that. Got some more left. And I like to catch some of the smoke and bring it over and around. Sometimes I use a candle for releasing intention as well, rather than imbuing items. This time I felt like it's items. Sometimes I pull energy with the athame, or athame, or knife. I don't know how to say certain things. And project energy with the wand. Personal preferences. I don't have a set way that I do ritual every single time. For me, that keeps it exciting, keeps it intuitive. But it's also about being connected with what I'm intending, right? So for some people, if they want to do the same thing every time, that's great, because repetition also builds power. For me, it kind of stimulates my mind to be in the intuitive space and ask myself what I need in each moment based on the knowledge that I have. So, one more time, now that I've used all my plant material, I'm going to make another drop of peppermint and balsam. Bergamot. And finally, grapefruit. I'm sure my neighbors are very, very curious as to why I have such certain smells coming out of my apartment. But I guess that's the whole point of sharing a house or a living situation or boarding house thing with a witch. I mean, I'm allowed to, in this place anyway, create a lot of vapors. And I like to use things that I don't think people will have any allergies to, so. Perfect. Now, basically, I sit and allow this process to happen, and I either continue to fan fumes or meditate or stare at the sigils or find presence. There's whatever feels next most natural to you. In this moment, I have actually felt beforehand to prepare my goblet of wine. Not something that everyone has to do. I know not everyone can or wants to drink an alcoholic beverage, and that is totally understandable. But because this is a self-care ceremony for me, I really wanted to kind of toast out the last full moon of the year 2020, imbue all of this energy into my goblet of wine, and then take it into my body in a celebrational gesture. Yes, I love wine. I'm sorry, I'll just admit it. Also, afterwards, when my charcoal has completed, I will, after enough times of using and burning material on it, this is how OCD I am, take a strainer type thing or a sieve and sift out all of the plant material so that it's just sand again. And I'm feeling called to also add a little bit more of that Mars energy for initiation, for courage, for strength, and willpower going forward. I had done a devotional of 25 days to Mars, so now that it's completed, I'd really like to offer up in smoke and flame what I had been offering in earth to Mars with a candle every day. So that's basically my ritual. I'm going to shut it down video-wise and continue to do my focusing and intending and sit with this and really concentrate on my energetic space. I'd love to hear what other people do, what you do in ritual. If you have any rituals that you like to do you like to have some ritual wine? Please share. And do know that everyone's practice is their practice. There is no right and wrong when it comes to doing your craft, because ultimately it's your craft. So be kind to everyone, and remember, take care of yourself during this full moon in Cancer. This is really the time to do so, and I'll see you all in 2021 for a new year. Let's be ghetto fabulous one more time with Imagination, the I.MAGI.NATION, www.imaginationwitch.com. I promise I have branding on the way. It's being worked on. It'll be a New Year thing when it's completed. But yeah, go check it out in case you want any sparkles that have been in ritual, that have been imbued with intent. So, have a great one. Have a wonderful New Year's. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye, my loves.